Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes I go here and I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And something just comes up and I just kind of, um, I'm being led. Sometimes I'm led to talk about certain things and I just start discussing them and that's it. It's kind of like this, right? You can use your brain, you use your mind to plan everything out, right? Or you can use your spirit, right? You can use your spirit to either write about things or to talk about things, or to even go to different locations, right? And so usually when you do use your spirit, um, everything just falls into place, and it's like, I don't know if you've I don't know if you've ever kind of heard. I don't like to talk about celebrities too much, but I think Beyonce mentioned it, right? And I believe, I don't even want to get into Beyonce or all those celebrities. I think a lot of them are demonically possessed, and but I do know that Beyonce talked about it, and she said, when I go on stage, something else, or like Sasha Fierce, right? She's got this alternative or alternate name, right, for herself. And I believe that's what comes out, is the demon that takes over. So Beyonce just kind of like uh, not dies out, but you know she her spirit takes over basically during performances, right? And so that's how she's able to like perform so well, right? But of course we're not going to talk about which spirit is behind it, right? Although I just mentioned it, right? It's the demonic spirit that's behind her performances, right? As you guys can tell that a lot of the songs in there, in her, a lot of the words in her songs are not godly, right? And so this is how you can tell by, whose spirit someone is operating in. If it's godly spirit, it's always going to be good, right? It's going to feel good. It's going to make you feel good after watching it. It's going to ring true. It might trigger some people, right? But ultimately it's going to be for the better, and it's going to be for your own good, right? Because the truth, no matter how hard it is, it's for your own good, it and so there's that, right? And so you can judge the celebrity or the person, any person really. It doesn't have to be a celebrity, by the fruit, right? And by the fruit that they produce, right? By the fruits that they produce. And it's true, right? And so yeah, if you want to know which side any celebrity is on, right? If you even care about that, I personally don't, right? But you can just look at the songs that they're writing, right? The songs that even in fact, many of them don't even write their own songs, right? Because someone else does it for them, right? So more often than not, celebrities are like puppets, right? And so they're just merely used, right? I know this because I used to be in the modeling world, right? And in the modeling world, like, we didn't have any power whatsoever, right? We got picked, right? We got chosen during castings, right, for the job, and then we would just be used, right? And they would just we would just sit there basically like dolls, right? And they would make our hair, they would make our makeup, right? They would do everything, and it's kind of strange. But of course, at the same time, modeling and acting is also an art, So there are good models, there are bad models, right? And so modeling is like still acting, And this is what I learned, right? So you have to, in order to be a good model, you have to be able to portray certain expressions, right? And it's harder than it looks, actually. It's harder than it seems, whether it's like sad, right? Sadness or happiness or frustration, anger, whatever, right? Whichever emotion. So a good model is like able to kind of like speak with her eyes, right? And she's able to move her body in the right way, and so on, So it is an art form too, um, you know but at the same time, you are being, for the most part, controlled and used. And so when you see models, or even actresses, or even singers, right, just look at them as puppets for the most part, okay? They don't make too many decisions themselves. In order to stay in that industry, you ultimately have to sell your soul. But anyway, so, and then, of course, you're going to have to keep your silence, right? Any information that you do know, you cannot talk about a lot of different things, right? And so you pay with your silence, right? More often than not, guys, we end up paying the price for everything, okay? So everything has a price, you know, and I guess this is something that I wanted to discuss. I wanted to discuss how, you know, in most cases, the chosen ones, right, God's children, or people with very good hearts, right, empathetic people, people that are compassionate, they're not perfect, you know, but they are like Earth's angels, right? And so these people, they're also going to be tested, okay? For example, right, God is definitely looking after these people, you know. God is always going to be looking after the chosen ones, always, okay? Because they are doing God's work, okay? And you know, after a spiritual awakening, you will start seeing all of this. You will start seeing the things that you've never seen before when you were asleep, basically, right? And so when you're asleep, you're sort of like blind to all of the stuff that becomes visible after the spiritual awakening, you know? So beforehand, right, you don't see, you think that things are just random, right? Things are just coincidences, you know, you might not even recognize the cycles that you get stuck on in terms of your work, your relationships, you know, even the place that you're living in, right? And so, or places that you're living in, right? And so you might continue spinning in a circle in all of those things, and you will not notice the circle, or you will not recognize the patterns, and you will continue making the same mistakes until a certain point, of course, right? But because I think until eventually we will learn. Eventually we will, I think, wake up to what is going on, and we will change it, right? We will finally pass the test, right? But the entire kind of like, the entire point is to recognize that there is a test, and that you are being tested, right? And so God will test so many people, okay, in this way. God will even test the chosen ones. He will test our patience. He will test our dedication. He will humble us, because chosen ones don't like to ask for help, you know. We don't like to, a lot of us have these trauma responses, right? Or we, being overly independent, right? That's also like, that's a trauma response, right? And so we don't like to rely on other people for help. We don't even like to ask for help. We kind of innately, we know that we're the ones that should be helping, you know? And so chosen ones are naturally giving, and they want to help everyone, right? Be it financially, be it, you know, emotionally, right? Be it in terms of guiding someone into the right direction, right? Or, I don't know, supporting them emotionally, right? During difficult times, right? And so, a lot of times, God will, you know, humble you also in this way. He might not provide the help that you need. And so you might have to go to another person, right? Maybe someone that you don't really want to go to, because, like I said, you don't want to ask for help, or maybe you don't trust them too much, right? Maybe you don't even think that they'll give it to you, right? Because of the past, right? And so this will be a very humbling experience, you know. You might come to them and you might ask them for help, and this will humble you. But it's during difficult times, you know, is when we become more empathetic, more resilient, right? And that's how we actually end up in the long run helping more people, right? And so it's during our hard times um, that we also need to understand that human beings are meant to rely on one another, you know. And if you think you're the biggest entrepreneur or the biggest boss bee that's out there, right? You're still relying on other people to provide your livelihood, you know. Yeah, even if it means like subscribing to your channel, right? Or I don't know, supporting you in this way. You know what I mean? Like, so people need other people. We're not like, we cannot really, especially in this world, we cannot make it alone, like strictly by ourselves, right? Like, as much as many of us would like to think that we can, right? And we're so independent, right? No, that's in most cases it's not the case, you know. So and it is okay to rely on other people. It is okay to ask for help, you know, if you really need it, right? Because we are supposed to, as brothers and sisters, we're supposed to help one another, right? And God will you know, test you if you do, like, for example, if you do help, especially a chosen one, right? Then you're going to be rewarded for it. Make no mistakes, you're going to get your blessings, you know. Some people might call it karma, right? But it's really what we get, what we give, we get so much more back, you know, threefold, sometimes fourfold, right? And so by helping a chosen one, or even by helping anyone that's in need, right? You're really helping yourself, you know, in more ways than one, right? Not only will you feel better as a person, right? But and this will be just your confirmation. It will confirm to you that you are a light being, you know, and so that's great, right? But also you will get your blessings. Your God will bless you. You know, God tests us like this, right? Like, will you give to this person, or will you, or you won't give to them? You will not help them, especially if they ask for help, right? And so, you know, sometimes people, for example, they might struggle with certain things, right? Maybe certain sicknesses, right? And they might get tested too, even during that time, you know? And so, really, ultimately, anyways, never mind about that. But what I was going to say, right, is that there are going to be a lot of tests, you know, and the test will include kind of, the test will include, they will basically either you will either fail or you will pass, you know. And the tests are often, they involve, you know, self-love, right? Setting boundaries, discernment, you know, are you able to discern now, right, between a good person and a bad person, right? Although there are no really bad people, right? There are people that are damaged, traumatized, possessed, oppressed, people that do bad actions, right? But ultimately, we're all beings of light, you know, and it's really important to remember this, especially because we are living in this kind of, we were born into a hellish existence, right? All the culture, everything, right? Culture, it comes from the word of cult, right? Before I mentioned this in one of my other videos, right? But we've been conditioned to be a certain way, to operate in a certain way, right? To even be proud of our country, right? And all of this creates division. It creates, if your ego identifies with that image that has been created, right, of your country, for example, right? Like, if you identify with being Russian, right, then you're going to defend Russians, right? You're going to defend even the bad things that are happening in Russia, right? Things that shouldn't be defended, right? And same applies with America and any other country, right? And so if you identify as being like anything really, for that matter, right? You're going to even sometimes overlook evil, okay? and that's not a good thing. Okay, so we have to move beyond labels. We have to move beyond labels, and you know, we have to start seeing things from we have to start understanding that a lot of things that were taught to us were not they were not good for us, you know. I know that I'm like, as a parent, right, you kind of like you begin to kind of like notice a lot of things, right? Like, for example, in children's books, right, a lot of, or even in the movies right now, especially Disney movies, you know, um, a lot of relationships that they're showing are, like, for example, abusive. One guy would like bully another one, right? That's actually very common in Disney movies, right? Like, one is getting bullied by the other one, right? And we think it's kind of funny, right? Because of the way that they're doing it, right? But really it's not. It's bullying, right? It's teaching our kids that kind of relationship is okay when it's not, right? Then of course there's like manipulation, right? Manipulation is also taught, right? In like, for example, Puss in Boots, right? In Puss in Boots, the guy who is um, the I mean the cat, right? The cat tells the guy, right? The poor guy. He's like, hey, you know, just get into the river, right? First of all, he just started giving him gifts, right? Giving the king gifts. And that's how it starts with narcissists, actually. Narcissists, they will, at first, in the beginning, they will give, right? And it will seem like they're generous. It will seem like, wow, it's someone I can trust because they're giving me so much, right? But in reality, that's how they're trying to hook you in, okay? So they can get everything out of you eventually, okay? So that's how they gain your trust, okay? Is by giving you things, giving you money, okay? And so it becomes, it appears that they're a good person, right? And so that's exactly what the cat did with the king, right? He started bringing him various offerings, right? Of like food, right? And so he gained his trust, right? And so eventually, right, he got on the king's good side, right? And then when in reality, all of this time, right, he was trying to trick the king, right? He was trying to get his master, right, to become like a prince, right? And so and so this is manipulation. It's lies. Um, you know, it's teaching kids that through stories, you know, that are ingrained in our culture, right? So be careful with what you're reading as a parent, you know, be careful with what you're watching. And always remember that things are not what they appear to be, okay? And spiritual awakening shows you this. You kind of, after the spiritual awakening, right, you begin to notice so much more. You begin to have a completely different experience and a completely different perception about the world that you're living in, you know? So nothing seems random anymore. Yeah, there are certain things that you still sometimes don't understand, right? Like, why is this happening to me? But because you've developed this closer relationship to God, he will he will tell you. He will tell you. He will tell you, and you will kind of, you'll know intuitively. Yeah. Hey, kitty. Anyway, so I guess I don't have anything else to share, guys. Okay, just once again, you know, just remember, you know, to be kind and to help one another, you know. And I know sometimes it's really hard to ask for help, but ask for help if you really, really need it. You know, don't be proud, right? We all need help every once in a while, and that is okay. It makes us human. It doesn't make us weak. You know, in fact, asking for help can take a lot of courage and strength, okay? And you know, wherever you are in your journey, right? It always goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, right? It's never linear. So don't worry about if you're going through difficulties. You know, don't worry about it. You'll get back up again. You know, we might get knocked down for a little bit, right? But then things always improve, right? And it's just a matter of having faith, right? And also not doing the wrong things just to get to another level, right? Sometimes it might take you a little bit longer to get to another level if you're not cheating anyone, if you're not stealing, if you're not, you know, selling yourself, right, in some way, right, physically, I don't know. Um, and so yes, it's better to get there. You know, it's better to get there honestly and you know, with honor and with faith, by honoring yourself, by honoring God, right? By honoring yourself, you are honoring God too, right? And so just remember, He will always be there for you, okay? And even if it doesn't seem like it, you know, He might just want to, He might just be testing someone else, you know, and you too, you know. And so yeah, everything is a test. Most things will be a test, okay? And they will be a test of your inner qualities, okay? Or they will develop your inner qualities. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe. Hey, kitty, don't knock down my camera. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching, okay? Much love to you guys.